Hello, welcome here or welcome back. My name is Michaela. I'm a wife, a mom, and a knitter from British Columbia, Canada, and this is Galanthus Knits. Hello from the woods. If you hear a plane going over, there is one. I am hiking a local trail near my hometown. And it's a beautiful mossy forest. We actually already made it up to the top and now we're heading down. And I took my husband's Tundra Jumper, which I finished, to go take some photos up at the top of this hike, which goes to a beautiful alpine lake. It was really nice. My husband is hiking ahead of me with our daughter in the carrier right now. Yeah, I wanted to do a few clips just from the woods and trying to pay attention to my footing as I'm going down. So yeah, I finished my husband's Tundra Jumper and I really like the way it turned out. I got him to model it a little bit for me up at the top of the hike. So I will put in that footage in a minute. But I am so pleased that it's finished. I'm so pleased that it's out of the way and it's ready for him for this time of year, which is getting colder and colder, although today's quite warm. All right, there's some hikers about to pass me, so I will say goodbye to you for now. And yeah, enjoy the extra clips that I've taken at the top.
Rainy days don't seem so wet. Stormy nights don't stay. From the moment that we met, you were worth the wait. Oh, this could be the best thing that I'll ever know. Talk for hours, I never slept. Two silhouettes on the concrete steps. We watched the sun as it slowly crept.
Dash, 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 dash.
From the horizon to the place.
That's good. We just saw a bear. We saw a bear and it ran away that way. He went up the mountain. Hello, it's been a couple days since my hike and I'm back home and I just want to finish kind of talking about the Tundra Jumper and then a few other things that are going on knitting wise. So yeah, to just finish talking about the Tundra Jumper, if you've been here for a while, then you know that it's been my longest running project ever. And that isn't really for any reason other than my motivation dipped and it was a bottom up sweater, so I didn't get to do the fun part first, so it didn't really motivate me to like continue knitting. But I finally finished it. I really just wanted to get it done. It took me just under a year, so I started it October 9th, 2023, and I finished it on like the 26th or something of September in 2024, this year. So yeah, it's all finished. My husband hasn't worn it yet because it's very warm, and it hasn't been cold enough for something this warm yet, but he will wear it. The only thing that is a little bit disappointing about the finished garment is that the sleeves are slightly too long. He rolls them up, but this is how far they come down compared to the bottom of the body. And they did grow with blocking a little bit, but I knitted them to the correct length that the pattern called for. Now they are knitted bottom up, so I can't really go back and just undo it and then reknit it. So that's a bit disappointing. I know that there are some techniques that I've seen a few other knitters use where you insert a lifeline, is that called like an afterthought lifeline? And then cut rip back and then Kitchener stitch, but I am not brave enough to attempt to do that. So I'm going to leave it for now. If it really bothers him after a season of wearing, then I might attempt to do that, but I let him know to let me know if it's actually bothersome or not. But this is the finished sweater. This is a the Petite Knitter sweater pattern, the Tundra Jumper. It's beautiful pattern. It calls for two contrast colors, and I went for 3 because that's what my husband chose. And just a reminder, talked about this a million times, but I used Drops Big Merino held with Drops Merino double, so I held them together. It's knitted on 4.5 millimeter needles, so that's the main color. And then the contrast colors are Let Lopi that he picked up while we were road tripping in Iceland a few years ago. So we saw these beautiful Icelandic sweaters for sale, and then we saw the Let Lopi yarn, which they use unspun yarn for those classic Icelandic sweaters. Now, I didn't have enough room in my suitcase for 2 massive sweaters or 2 big sweater quantities of yarn, and the Let Lopi is very rustic, so that's not really something that me or my husband are comfortable with having right against our skin. So we decided to just pick up contrast colors. So he picked 3 colors, I picked 3 colors, 1 skein of each, and then I said we would figure out which pattern we were going to do later. So this was his chosen pattern. He chose the pattern, he chose his colors, and I knitted it up. I'm really happy with it. This trip was 2.5 years ago now, so we went to Iceland in February of 2022. It was the second time we'd been to Iceland, but it was our longer trip. The first time was a pretty quick trip because it was a stopover on the way. Anyway, that's finished. And now that I have it finished, I'm a little bit motivated to start mine. I wanted to get his done first for him before I started on mine. I haven't chosen the pattern that I want to use for my sweater yet. I will probably choose a pattern from the Petite Knitter, same designer as this one. And I have her book as well, so there might be a pattern in there that I could go with. I would definitely choose a top-down pattern, but I haven't chosen it yet. I will show you my contrast colors, though, because I chose different colors than he did for my contrasts, so I'll show them to you. Hello, it's the next day. I did finish filming all the stuff that I wanted to film yesterday, but the footage ended up being too dark in the end because I was very quickly losing light, and so it's unfortunately unusable. So here I am kind of picking up where I cut it off in editing because it just got too dark. So I was about to show you the yarn colors that I've chosen for my Icelandic sweater, Lopapeysa. I'm not sure if that's the correct way to pronounce the word Lopapeysa, but I'm pretty sure it's an Icelandic word for the type of traditional Icelandic sweater. I hope I'm saying that somewhat correct, but Icelandic is a very hard language. So anyway, these are the colors that I chose for my own sweater. So the white color is the same as the one that my husband chose for his sweater. He has a white, a gray, and a dark green. And so the white, and then I went for this kind of like burnt umber, sort of orangey red color. And then this mossy green. So it's a different green than what he has in his. His is more of a forest green, and I went for a moss. And my thought process for these colors were that I want it to be kind of representative of our time in Iceland. And so this to me was kind of ice, glacier, this was moss, and this is like fire and lava and volcano type situation. So anyway, these are the colors that I went for. I don't like the color blue, so I think when you think of ice or glaciers or something, blue maybe would have been the first color that comes to mind, but I actually don't like blue much at all, so I went for white for ice instead. So I'm not sure what kind of main color that I want to go for yet. I could do like a dark color like my husband did. That could be sort of like black sand beach vibes, but I'm just not sure. I think I'll probably take these skeins to my local yarn shop and then compare them to some yarns at my work and see if the colors look nice. So yeah, I don't know when I'm going to be casting this on. Maybe this winter season, I hope, but I have a lot of other projects kind of in mind for now, so I might not get to it till next year. But these are my colors for my color work sweater to kind of go with his. So I'll just finish talking about some of the other knitty things that I have going on. I have made some progress on the Terpsichore scarf, which I started a few weeks ago, and this is a Sari Nordlund pattern from her book that I have. So this is where I'm at. I have been doing the cables and increasing as I go, and I think there's going to be like 10. You're supposed to do the chart 10 times before you start to decrease, and I think I've done maybe 4. So 4 or 5. So I'm nearly a quarter done, I think. This has been a little bit slower because it's just been one of those things that I take with me on the go or in the car sometimes. I took it up on a hike a few weeks ago and I worked on it at the top of the hike. The same hike actually from the beginning of this video. I do it quite often because it's a pretty easy hike for my standard, and has a nice view at the top, and it's just it's a nice place to hang out. Anyway, I am very happy with the way that it's turning out. I love this color red. I find reds hard to, they're hard to pick sometimes. I like a red that has like a more brownish tone instead of a more berryish red. Like I'll go for like an orange brown leaning red more than a berry leaning red, and I find that it's hard to locate or like find those exact tones that you're looking for. So I really like the color of this. It actually goes, I think it goes quite nicely with my arboreal sweater that I knitted 3 years ago. That might be a nice pairing once it's finished. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. I did mention in a previous video that I don't love doing cables, and I still think that rings true, although I'm not hating this project because it's the same cable over and over again. I don't have to think about which way each cable leans, and it's pretty easy to memorize the pattern. It's, I think, 10 rows, maybe 12. 10 or 12 rows in the chart, and then you repeat that you repeat the chart 10 times until it's grown, because you're increasing as you go. And then I haven't looked at the chart for decreasing, but I think the chart for that is different. Anyway, it is a really nice kind of single skein type pattern, and I did weigh this skein before I started knitting so that when I get to the halfway point I can check to see if I have enough. This was marketed as a 100-gram skein, and I've been told that generally yarn dyers or spinners will kind of give you a little bit extra from the 100, but this was only 96 grams. So I don't know if that's normal. I don't always weigh my skeins. So this one I did weigh, and it was 96 grams, and I did weigh it a few different ways, like just to check, and it's 96, so I'll be weighing it kind of halfway to see if I have enough for the rest of the project. But anyway, that's that. I really like it. I really like the color. I think this pop of red is really, really beautiful, and I think it's just classic. Like, it's a classic wintry type piece, and I'm excited to continue working on that. I think like this is one of those projects that I'm not really rushing through. It's going to be on my needles probably till the end of November, and I started it in September. So a couple months of slowly knitting on this, I think, is really nice. It'll be really relaxing, and yeah, not going to push it. Okay, and then I have another project that I've been working on that I hadn't started, I think, in my last video, and that is the Stockholm Slipover V-neck. So this is how far I've gotten. I'm knitting this in the dye bath yarn that I bought while I was in Bath, England, and you may recall that this yarn this is the 4th project that I've started knitting with this yarn, and I realized after knitting this project that all the other things that I started working on with this yarn, it was all like lace or cables or like textured knits. And looking back at those pictures, I really feel that maybe I was just doing too much with this yarn, because it's got neps in it, and it also has like variation in color and tones because it's hand dyed. And I think that it was just looking too busy. That's why I didn't like it. Now that I'm knitting it up in just a simple stockinette, I like it a lot better because I can see what the yarn is doing instead of seeing the textures that I'm creating, if that makes sense. So I've knitted the 2 side ribbing for the vest. I did that because I just wanted a break from simple stockinette. So I picked up those stitches and did the ribbing. And then I'm just knitting on the body. I'm going to try it on and decide how long I want to go before I start making the ribbing. And I'm going to do a split hem. I think I'm going to do a lengthened rib at the bottom that is split. That's my plan. So I'll try it on probably today, see how far down it goes and see where I want that split to start. I'm really liking it so far. After that, I just have the ribbing around the neckline to do. So it's knitting up really quickly, and I had hoped to have it finished by Thanksgiving, but Thanksgiving is in 4 days. The 14th of October it is this year. It's always the second Monday of October here in Canada. We have a different Thanksgiving than our neighbors to the south, the Americans, who have their Thanksgiving on the 4th Thursday of November, I believe. Ours is the second Monday of October in Canada. So that's the 14th this year, and I don't think I'll have it finished by then, but that's okay. I'm taking a trip up to Whistler in a couple of weeks, and maybe I'll have it finished by then. So it's not, again, this is not a rush knit either. Like, it's just working on it when I can. I'm kind of in between right now. I think tomorrow I'm gonna make a trip out to the yarn store to buy some baby knit yarn, because I do need to catch up on some of the baby knitting that I'm doing. And because there's one of my friend's babies was born last week, and then another one of my friends told me they were pregnant last week. So for a very short time, I knew 7 people who were expecting a baby, and now I know 6 because one was born. So yeah, I have some knitting to do for, there's 2 babies born in November. One of them I haven't knitted anything for yet. So I want to get on that really quick, because I don't know if, like, they may come early or whatever. It's like mid-November. But I'm hoping to just do like a cardigan or something for them, and that a baby, like a newborn cardigan, takes no time at all. And because we're going up to Whistler in a couple of weeks, there's going to be some opportunity to do a lot of knitting in the car on the way there, because it's like a 3-hour drive from my hometown. So 3 to 4, depending on the traffic. So yeah, that will be tomorrow. I will go to the yarn shop tomorrow and work on that. That'll kind of be a rushed thing, I think. So I'll rush through that, and then I'll go back to knitting like the things that I'm taking my time with. The other thing that I wanted to mention is that I have been continuing to knit on the baby Bella dress that I started knitting for my daughter, and I ran out of yarn, so I'll show you how far I got. So this is where I'm at. I blocked it so that I could kind of see the full thing of what it's going to look like, and I did add the buttons in, just simple wooden buttons that I already had. But I'm missing about 9 centimeters to the bottom, and this is, if I stop here, it'll be too short, it won't be a dress. So I do have quite a bit of knitting left to do on the bottom, and I don't have any yarn left. I was hoping, I bought 4 skeins of this Durarum Natura Albertine yarn in Seattle, and I knitted a size 0 to 3 month cardigan for my friend's baby with that yarn, and then I was attempting to finish a size 18 to 24 month dress also with that yarn, and out of the 4 skeins that I bought, and I didn't make it. I thought I would, but I didn't. And I've been bad for yarn chicken lately. I've just not been good at estimating how much yarn I actually need for a project, so that's a little bit discouraging. And last week I phoned, so my local yarn store in my town does not carry Durham Natura at all, and so I phoned the next closest one 2 towns over, and they don't carry it. So then I proceeded to phone like 6 different shops in Vancouver to see if any of them carry Durham Natura, and none of them do. And my last resort is to phone the shop in Squamish, which is like over 2 hours away, but it's on the way to Whistler. So if I'm going up to Whistler, then I can stop there to see if they have the yarn. If they don't, I'm going to have to order it online from Ontario, from Toronto, I think. And that's fine, except that the shipping cost for shipping from Ontario to British Columbia costs more than the single skein that I need. So it doesn't seem worth it unless I'm buying more yarn, which I don't need right now apart from some like baby yarns. But I can just get that at my local yarn shop. So like, should I order it from Ontario just to justify the shipping? I don't know. I might end up doing that. I'll have to phone the shop in Squamish first to see if they carry it. But it's so frustrating because it's such a nice yarn. I don't know why people don't carry it. But maybe it's hard to get in Canada. Like, it's hard to ship, to supply in Canada. I don't know. But anyway, that's that for now. It's sitting there. I do have some time on that because it's size 18 to 24 months, and my daughter won't be 18 months until January. So she won't be wearing it super soon. She is quite true to size. I think she isn't bigger than average or smaller than average. Actually, she might be slightly smaller than average now that I think about it, clothing wise. So she lands kind of in the right size ranges at the right time, I think. So it's not rushed. It's just kind of frustrating, but it was my own fault. I thought I could get away with it, and I didn't. So those are what I'm working on right now. I do have one acquisition to show you, and it's kind of fun. It's a unique acquisition. I went to the thrift store a couple days ago, and I got myself a little like cabinet to store some of my knitting stuff in, because it was kind of getting out of control how I was storing things, and I needed a better solution. So I went and I picked up a dresser to store some of my stuff, and it's sitting next to my desk over there, so that I can easily access things while I'm sitting at my desk and knitting, which I do a lot of desk knitting because while my daughter is napping, being in the bedroom just at my desk is kind of the quietest location that I can be at while she's asleep, which she is right now. I have the baby monitor with me watching her, and yeah, so I'm really excited about it. It fits really well in the space. I really like it. The only thing I don't like about it are the knobs and I'm gonna change them out. I have to go to the garden center tomorrow, and right next to the garden center is an antique shop, and I think they have like vintage knobs that you can buy, and I'm gonna replace those knobs because they're giving Emerald City. Yeah, they're giving. Yeah, that's the best way I can describe it. It reminds me of the Wizard of Oz when Dorothy gets to the Emerald City. Anyway, yeah, so I'll show you that properly, and then also the thing that's sitting on top of it, which is organizing my books, that and some yarn that is also thrifted, which I got a couple weeks ago. So I think I paid 30 Canadian dollars for the dresser, and then $6 for that organization thing on the top. So yeah, it was a good deal. Like, I'm really pleased with how it's turned out in my little knitting corner. I'll show you some footage of the knitting corner in a second, like my desk and everything. So yeah, you can see that.
Oh, this could be the best thing that I'll ever know. Oh,
thanks for watching. Thanks for joining me again today. And I hope you enjoyed this slightly different type of video. I kind of like the videos where it's not all just sitting down and talking to the camera. There's like different scenes and different ways to break up the just like spew of content or spew of talking about knitting or information. So I'm really enjoying kind of doing that kind of video. I enjoyed taking you with me on a hike and whatever, so I think I may start doing that a little bit more often, just so I enjoy the editing process and the filming process of those types of things as well. So thanks so much for watching, and thanks for all the encouragement, especially regarding the Tundra Jumper. And I'm just really happy that I finished it and that he can wear it, and it's beautiful. I love it. It looks really nice on him, and I'm just very proud of all the work that went into that sweater, all the time that went into that sweater. And now it'll always remind him and I of our wonderful road trip in Iceland, because that was one of the best trips we ever took. So yeah, anyway, thanks so much. See ya later.